Brea Grant as May, a suburban woman who fights to be believed as she finds herself stalked by a threatening figure who returns to her house night after night. When she can't get help from those around her, she is forced to take matters into her own hands. This just premiered on Shudder, and Brea Grant also wrote this one, though it's directed by Natasha Carmani, with this being her third feature film. And it's yet another movie that deals with the time loop concept, and given that it's also a horror movie, the first thing you'll be inclined to think of is Happy Death Day. Though before you totally write this movie off or call it unoriginal, I'd say hold up, as it manages to give a surprisingly fresh take on the genre, which is something that's managed to repeatedly amaze me when it comes to these movies. Unlike other time loop films, the way this plays out is that each day will actually be different besides the one constant that someone is breaking into May's house each night. Even when she kills this person various times, the next night he's back, but her day otherwise doesn't play out the exact same way. The only other consistent behavior is how everyone she tells about this break-in seems to give a very similar response each time. They'll actually acknowledge what's going on, but shrug it off saying how this is the way things are, and that's what leads May to taking matters into her own hands. I'd say the scenes of the break-ins were really well done. They're mostly fast-paced and pretty intense, and Carmani captures the dark atmosphere perfectly. And typically with faster-paced horror films, we generally get a lot of jump scares, but the film managed to rely more on its shot compositions and unnerving soundtrack to get that feel across. I feel everyone's going to be on board with these moments, though it's everything we get during the day where I feel people are going to be more divided. This is a very character-driven film, but unlike other time loop movies, it doesn't deal with our main character having to learn about seizing the day and appreciating their time or some other lessons we typically get in these movies. This actually serves as a metaphor, with the break-ins being a physical manifestation of traumatic events involving her past, and as the film goes on, there becomes much more of this dreamlike quality to it, and it mixes those elements with more grounded scenes revolving around interpersonal relationships. Without spoiling what it is exactly, the film ultimately highlights dealing with trauma and the way in which the burden of that trauma is carried. As it digs below the surface, there's a very profound message behind it once you catch on, though it's the sort of film that's never 100% straightforward in its storytelling. I felt it gives you enough to work with to piece certain story elements together, but there are definitely times it can be a little too vague for its own good. And for that, if you were to tell me the film left you confused, I totally understand where you're coming from. I even had to go back and watch a few scenes myself to fully comprehend certain plot points. Still, I think what this film has to say is pretty important, and for the most part, it does a fine job of conveying its message. I would have liked a little more coherency in certain areas, but it's well acted, competently directed, and very engaging, especially when it fully leans into its horror elements. And for me, it was worth the watch, so I'm looking forward to what comes next for both Grant and Carmani. Lucky gets a 7 out of 10. So let me know, did you see Lucky, or are you planning to see it, and what were your thoughts? Did the story work for you, and what's your favorite time loop movie? Let me know in the comments below so we can discuss. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it, and for more movie reviews and film discussion, please make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay updated. Thanks for watching everyone, and keep having fun with film.